earlier. Okay. 1, 2, 3, mic check. 1, 2, 3. Where's my dang brush at? 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm dialing in now if you can hear me. 1 second. All right, now I'm dialed in, Kenyatta. If you need me, I'm here. Oh my God. I hate when this happens so close.
Mic check 1, 2, 3, 3, 2, 1. Breaking in 11. A sexual predator turns himself into police because he had no other choice. Absolutely. Ooh, sorry, loud in my ear. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
One, two, three, four. We're going to have a couple showers this afternoon as a cold front comes through our region. Cold front with big, big quotation marks. Big quotation marks. Yes.
Oh, Lord. Who's reading it, though? Okay. Whoa, why do I hear myself?
Did you say me?
No, me.
Test 1, 2, 3, 4,
doesn't
5,
matter.
6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Breaking at 11, a convicted sexual predator turns himself into Northport police. Why Timothy Rice should have been arrested sooner.
Breaking right now, a body found in the road in Fort Myers Shores. NBC2 has brand new surveillance video from the scene. Plus, all new at 11, who killed Nipsey Hussle? NBC2 has surveillance video showing who pulled the trigger.
But first, don't leave those umbrellas at home. We may have started off sunny, but we're going to see the clouds roll in and some rain roll into southwest Florida as well later on this afternoon. This developing storm system off the east coast of the United States is taking its time, but we're starting to now finally see some showers work into southwest Florida. Let's zoom in to the region's only live Doppler radar and show you what is happening. It's pretty quiet for most of the region, but we're starting now to see places like DeSoto and Charlotte counties some showers begin to roll in. In fact, there's some pretty heavy rain that just passed over the Charlotte Town Center. This is running up Veterans Boulevard towards I-75. So if you are between the mall and 75, you're going to see some pretty heavy rain for about 10 to 15 minutes or so as it continues to track towards places like Deep Creek and Lake Susie. That is the main shower that we're watching right now. We're going to see more showery weather as we progress through the afternoon. So coming up, we'll run through Futurecast and show you when you need to have that umbrella handy.
Well, breaking news at 11, the Lee County Sheriff's Office.
Backed out, and I saw it was all taped up.
Getting back to some breaking news at 11, the Lee County Sheriff's Office is investigating a person found laying in the road in Fort Myers Shore. This happening just off of Palm Beach Boulevard.
Yeah, right now deputies have taped off a 1 to 2 block radius surrounding First Street and Tropic Avenue right here. NBC2's Ashley Dyer is live from the scene, and she just got a hold of surveillance video. Ashley, what can you tell us?
Yeah, Nate, Amanda, this is an ongoing investigation, as you can see, and it was all caught on camera. As you said, we just got surveillance video from a convenience store right here. We're going to cut to that video right now so you can see what I'm talking about. We just got this about 10 minutes ago. You can see cars stopped in the street. The woman who works at the convenience store tells me she did see a body in the street. You can see ambulances or an ambulance and a fire truck arriving shortly after. I do want to bring you back to the scene because this is still a very active scene. Actually, right now, just as we started this live shot, there's a helicopter flying over the area. Deputies told me this helicopter was coming. They said it's going to be taking aerial photos from above to help them piece together what exactly happened here. I do want to show you there is some evidence right in the middle of the street in plain sight. You can see by those evidence markers a pair of shoes. Well, that's where the woman says she saw the body this morning. She said she had just opened up the convenience store. It's called Oscar's Handy Pantry. She opened it up around 6 a.m. This all happening right around 6:30. At least 10 deputies still on scene right now. A forensics team was here this morning, as well as multiple crime scene units. Deputies were inside the convenience store reviewing video on their computers. This crime scene tape that you're looking at, this has been up for hours. We talked to a man who lives on First Street, just a couple houses away from where this all happened. He says today his kid's bus stop is a crime scene.
Being a parent, you know, sometimes I have to take my kids to the bus stop. Sometimes they have to go on their own. So it's a little scary when I think about them having to go on their own because you don't know what might happen.
This is a very residential area, as you can see. Lots of people wondering how this all happened. We are working to confirm that for you. At this point, I can tell you, and you can see, it is a very active investigation. As soon as we get any updates, we're going to bring them to you live on air and on your NBC2 News app. I'm live in Lee County. Ashley Dyer, NBC2.
Breaking news at 11, convicted sex predator Timothy Rice has turned himself into police. Rice has multiple convictions for assaulting children. Some even go back 20 years. Rice is accused of groping children in pools. Charlotte County deputies recently arrested him after parents reported he was behaving suspiciously with children in Inglewood. Rice left Florida last month, telling Sarasota deputies that he needed to leave to get away from media coverage. Again, Rice just turned himself into Northport Police, and Northport Police expect more charges to be filed in the future. From your Collier County News team, today Naples residents will vote to replace Councilmember Linda Penniman. Penniman resigned back in January because of her husband's health. Right here are the 4 men running to replace her. If you plan on voting today, the polls will stay open until 7 o'clock tonight. Also, make sure to bring a valid ID if you plan to vote. If you're voting by mail, your ballot has to be returned to the Supervisor of Elections office by 7 o'clock tonight. If you don't know where exactly you should vote, download our NBC2 News app. There you will find a link to help you find your precinct. It's posted under News Links.
Hundreds of migrants are being released after going through customs and border protection. It's the latest response to the influx of migrants crossing the border. Camila Bernal is in McAllen, Texas, with a look at how authorities and volunteers are dealing with those that were released.
After a 22-day journey from Guatemala, Juan Antonio Ortiz and his daughter made it to Texas.
One always looks for better benefits for your family because our country is very poor. There's no way to make a living.
Ortiz is just one of hundreds of migrants who arrived to the United States in recent weeks.
Over the last 4 weeks, we have averaged over 1,000 apprehensions. We had a couple of days where we exceeded 1,400, and then we actually broke our all-time high number, which was over 1,766 apprehensions in a 24-hour period.
The migrants are given a notice to appear in court at a later date, where their immigration cases will be heard. Then they're quickly released, causing overcrowding at the local shelters.
I don't understand how come so many people all of a sudden, this couple of weeks, all of a sudden, they almost all started coming, you know? It's never happened before.
Many say they come for similar reasons, including poverty and violence. And like Ortiz, they continue their journeys. He's headed to Phoenix, where he says family members already have a construction job lined up for him. He thanks God and says it's all been worth it.
That's Camila Bernal reporting now. Although the overall number of undocumented immigrants crossing the border is down from its peak 2 decades ago, a record number of families and unaccompanied minors are now trying to enter the U.S. Democratic House Judiciary Chairman Jerry Nadler will authorize a subpoena this week to obtain Special Counsel Robert Mueller's full, unredacted report. The move sets up a showdown between congressional Democrats and the Trump administration over the nearly 400-page report. Today is the deadline Democrats set for Attorney General William Barr to provide the full report and its underlying evidence to Congress.
This morning, an arrest warrant has been filed for the man who's been harassing a Cape Coral AutoZone manager for months. That manager says she's never met the man, but he's been calling pizzas and taxis in her name to AutoZone for 3 months. She's also says that he's threatening to kidnap and assault both her and her family. And she tells NBC2 she believes it's because of her sexual orientation. Chicago Pizza tipped us off to this case, saying they kept getting weird phone calls.
The phone call starts with this computerized voice and then a human speaking after the computerized voice saying, have you ever received a phone call from a hearing impaired or a hearing assisted phone order?
Cape Coral police say the arrest warrant has to be approved by the state attorney. The victim tells NBC2 she plans on filing a restraining order on Thursday.
From your Cape Coral News team, a development plan in the works for nearly a decade is on the chopping block today. It's located on Cape Coral Parkway. That project is supposed to bring shops, restaurants, and jobs to southeast Cape Coral. And here's what Village Square is projected to look like. It will have restaurants, stores, offices, and apartment buildings that are up to 6 stories tall. The $140 million project was first approved 9 years ago in 2010. City leaders will be discussing plans for the development this afternoon. We'll let you know what they decide. 8 more sets of eyes in Southwest Florida's fastest growing city.
Having a little more safety to our citizens is certainly a good thing to pay for.
NBC2 is tracking your tax dollars next. How Cape Coral police are using cameras to help keep you safe.
Plus, banning before even trying why people don't want electric scooters on Sanibel.
And we're watching from the Punta Gorda Airport that rain moving through Charlotte County in the Port Charlotte area at this time. Coming up, I'll show you when you'll have the best chance of rain later today where you live.
Well, it is 11:12, and take a look at this. This is really important for you to know at this time. This is the latest fire danger map in Southwest Florida. You can see all 6 counties are at moderate risk for fire. This is again important because we are at really the peak of the brush fire season and towards the end of the dry season. So a lot of fuel out there. So just be careful if you're burning anything in the area.
And you see that the threat level is listed as moderate. Now, despite that, firefighters are staying busy this dry season. In fact, 2 fires in Lehigh Acres are under investigation this morning. First is this one on Leconsick Avenue. This one burned 2 acres of land. And then an hour before that, another fire broke out yesterday. This one was on 64th Street West, and this one burned an acre. It could have been prevented. Investigators say it started with kids playing with firecrackers. In Florida, firecrackers are only legal when used for agricultural purposes, and that's to scare off predators and birds.
Let's head to the Panhandle, where crews are battling a more than 600-acre fire. This is in Bay County. The fire is now about 75% contained. Florida Forest Service says at least 35 structures were threatened and 20 people living in 20 homes, I should say, had to be evacuated. Firefighters are saying that it's really been tough to get in to fight this fire because of the swampy area that it is burning in. And I mean, that's kind of a site that we are familiar with here in Southwest Florida. If you remember a few years ago when the big Lynn Strand forest was up in flames from a brush fire.
Yeah, it's been a couple years that area has burned pretty heavily. And, you know, they also have a problem there because there's all that debris from Hurricane Michael there in Bay County. So that makes it even tougher and a lot more things that can burn.
And today some rain could be coming. Should that help at all?
I don't think there's going to be enough rain out there that's going to make a huge difference. I think that this front being kind of mild is going to make a little bit of a difference. And I'll tell you why here in just a second. But we got to talk about where the showers are right now in Southwest Florida. This is the Punta Gorda Airport. We are looking north on that camera. You can see some threatening skies there. This is the active shower, the lone big shower in Southwest Florida right now. In fact, if you look right towards the horizon line, you can actually see a little bit of rain right there. That has just moved through the Port Charlotte area. Got a good soaking for a few minutes. Now that's starting to move towards the DeSoto County line, kind of taking a little bit of a northward track. So we're seeing some pretty heavy rain right now in Charlotte County, right over the Deep Creek and Lake Susie areas. If you're in Lake Susie and it hasn't started raining pretty heavy already, it is about to. This is a pretty solid shower. Whenever you see a little pink on the radar, that means that we're seeing some pretty torrential rainfall. So this is starting to take a little bit of a northward track, basically heading up right up Kings Highway. If you're in the Morgantown area or right along, I believe that is Duncan Road or Highway 17. This heading north as well towards the Peace River Shores area. So let's put a storm track on it. This is over the next 40 minutes or so. So if you're in Fort Ogden in DeSoto County up towards the Hull area, right along Highway 17, you're going to see those showers begin to move into that area. Meanwhile, Punta Gorda, you're going to get missed by this, but we'll have more chances for rain as we see more showers kind of glide in later on this afternoon. The main action at this point is up near the Tampa Bay area, around places like Bradenton and Lakeland. As this front continues to track to the south here, we'll get a better chance for rain, really region-wide, as we roll on into the afternoon. So once we get, say, towards 1 or 2 o'clock, we'll start to see the bulk of that front start to move down. We'll see increasing clouds as well for those areas, especially in Collier County right now, where it actually is quite sunny outside. Best chance of rain is going to be in that 2 to 5 p.m. time frame for Lee County, our highly populated areas there, and then in Collier County as well, kind of on the later end of that 2 to around 5 p.m. time frame. We are not expecting a big washout here. There's going to be a couple of downpours like the ones we just saw roll through the Port Charlotte area. That's really about it. This does not look like a very strong front at all at this point, and our future cast is certainly backing up that assumption. So we're going to watch for a couple of showers rolling on through the afternoon. That really is about it. So for today, temperatures staying in the low 80s. We're already in the upper 70s around most of the area. It'll be a little bit cooler where we've seen some areas get rain already, such as in Port Charlotte and in Arcadia. Middle 70s as we get into the later parts of the evening. Slightly cooler conditions tomorrow, but this is a very mild front. Not a big dip in humidity or temperatures. That's a good thing for fire danger. We want that humidity to stay up, actually, this time of year. That keeps the fire risk at a lower level. Speaking of lower level, not going to be anything low about temperatures as we head into this weekend. We're getting a little bit of a summer preview, and that includes a little bit of afternoon rain. That begins on Friday. Look at that. Next weekend, 87 for both Saturday and Sunday. Going to be a little bit toasty out there.
All right, Matt, thank you very much. Sanibel Island's known for having some of the best trails to get out and explore. But City Council is discussing a ban that could stop you from using motorized scooters and electric bikes. So right over here, you're looking at a map of the island's shared use paths. They stretch all the way from the lighthouse down there to the other end of the island, and the paths are mainly along Sanibel Captiva Road, Gulf Drive, and Periwinkle Way. NBC2's Shannon Clough explains what this ban means for Sanibel.
So before I explain why people don't want those scooters here, I want to explain to you how they kind of work. So you download an app, and once you download that app, you'll create an account, and from there you'll enter your credit card information and you're set to rent this scooter. But people here are saying they don't want anyone to have those rentals on the island, because if you take a look out here on Periwinkle Way, this is a road that is highly populated, it's very narrow, and a lot of traffic coming through here. So people don't believe that the road is fit for these scooters, and that brings us right here to the sidewalk. Well, we see so many bikes, we see so many people walking on these sidewalks here that people don't believe there's any room for them here either. They also say that the rate that these scooters can travel out, they believe that they might be so fast that they could be dangerous.
So imagine cars trying to look out for bikers and then also trying to look out for motorized scooters. It would just be a disaster.
There is a Florida lawmaker who's looking to pass a bill that would override any ban or current ordinance against these scooters. Count on NBC2 to follow that bill to see if it passes. In Sanibel, Shannon Clough, NBC2.
Right now in the NBC2 Alert Center, a lot of people on social media this hour talking about snow in North Carolina on April 2nd. I want to show you some of the pictures that I'm seeing, Matt. If you could pull this up here, a video here just posting moments ago. I'm going to show you it for yourself. North Carolina actually had snow in April last year as well on the 7th. Meteorologists saying it was just a trace a year ago, but still counts for snowfall in April. People commenting that it may be spring officially, but it certainly doesn't feel or look like it when they step outside today.
You never know what you're going to get in springtime, Stacy. Thank you. Well, figuring out what school you want to go to, that can be hard. But what about if you're accepted into 19 colleges? Now, a New York high school student has a very tough decision. 17-year-old Nelson Chow not only has those 19 choices, but he also will be the first one in his family to go to college.
I'm very privileged to have parents that said, you know, you work hard if you want to work hard, and if you want to get your dreams and you want to chase your goals, then you do that.
So he's an honor student, he's in marching band, he's helped rebuild homes after Superstorm Sandy, and even runs a blood drive, all while maintaining an average grade of 104. No wonder he got into 19 colleges.
104, geez. All right, unfortunately, Florida is one of the hotbeds for human trafficking in the United States. Take a look at this map from the Florida Department of Children and Families. You can see over the past year, that's this one right here, over 2,100 reports of human trafficking were made, and that was actually an improvement from the year before. So this year was actually the first year since 2013 that the amount of reports dropped. But this morning, lawmakers are hoping to help solve this problem by teaching students in public schools the warning signs. NBC2 spoke with the people who run Wings of Shelter in Estero. They provide safe homes for girls that get caught up in human trafficking, and they tell NBC2 they support the classes.
We trained in a local middle school in the area, and 5 little girls were rescued out of human trafficking as a result of that training.
If these classes were offered, students could opt out with their parents' permission. 22 Florida school districts already include human trafficking in their health classes. All right, imagine getting a ride from Lyft and then catching your driver falling asleep behind the wheel.
Like through the mirror, her eyes, she's just nodding on and off, on and off. And I keep like going, hello, like I keep kind of saying, excuse me.
Why that woman says the company's response disturbed her even more than the sleepy driver. A woman in Austin, Texas is sharing a nightmare Lyft ride experience. Her driver literally kept falling asleep at the wheel. It was all captured on her cell phone camera. Alex Caparariello reports.
I was like, excuse me, hello, and she kind of like wakes. She's like, I'm so sorry, I'm so sorry.
A frightening moment for Lyft rider Era McGilber this weekend, who says she noticed her driver veering off the road.
You can see like through the mirror, her eyes, she's just nodding on and off, on and off. And I keep like going, hello, like I keep kind of saying, excuse me.
The video she captured from that ride shows the driver's eyes getting heavy. But it's the response from the company after she complained that really disturbs her.
Thank you for letting us know that the driver fell asleep. And I've gone ahead and added a $5 coupon off for your next ride. And it kind of made me feel disgusted that it felt like my life was worth $5 coupon back for their app after I felt unsafe.
Lyft has fully reimbursed her for that ride and promised she won't be connected again with that driver.
You're operating a 2-ton vehicle. You have to be always aware of that.
Timothy Bray, a driver for both Lyft and Uber, says he does what's necessary to protect his passengers.
I mean, you should always be, safety first. And if you know you're not at 100%, you shouldn't be out. I need to take a break, get out, stretch my legs, or stop driving for the night.
McGilber says she wants to send a message for all ride-sharing drivers who may be pushing the limit.
You shouldn't be taking in drivers if you don't feel capable of doing it, because not only did she put my life in danger, she risked her life as well.
In a statement, Lyft said the company investigates all reports of fatigue driving, and they may even end up banning drivers for failing to drive safely.
From your Cape Coral News team, vandals shattered the windows of a family's home in the middle of the night. This happened on Southeast 18th Street, that's near Del Prado Boulevard. The victim tells NBC2 he heard glass shatter 4 times. When he stepped outside, he saw the broken windows and a teen in his yard running toward a silver van. A neighbor's home surveillance caught a glimpse of that getaway car, or van, I should say. The victim says he just wants the people responsible to be caught.
It was pretty terrifying, especially when you wake up from a dead sleep like that. I have a family and I'm very protective of them, and I don't want nothing to happen to them, and I'll do whatever I have to protect them.
The victim says it is going to cost him at least $500 to fix the windows. Police say they were not able to pick up any fingerprints from the window, and anyone who can identify the make of that van is asked to call police.
More than a week since an 8-year-old girl was hit and killed at her bus stop in Cape Coral, residents are getting impatient.
Something needs to be done, and it needs to be done soon.
How the Lee County School District is getting involved to keep our kids safe.
After a chaotic vigil for Nipsey Hussle, surveillance video is released showing what appears to be the moment someone shot the rapper. New this morning, who police think pulled the trigger.
I was elected by the citizens of Broward County overwhelmingly. I've never betrayed my oath of office. I've never tarnished the badge.
The former Broward County Sheriff is suing Governor Ron DeSantis. Why Scott Israel says the governor did not have the right to suspend him after the Parkland shooting.
This has affected our children, and children shouldn't be losing classmates.
An 8-year-old girl killed in Cape Coral while waiting for the bus. Now parents and kids are fighting for safety after losing Layla Aiken.
We begin the news at 11:30 here in the Alert Center, where I am tracking breaking news right now. We have an update on the death of rapper Nipsey Hussle. I am monitoring a live press conference. It's expected to start any minute. Matt, if you could pull up, you can see it's on 5 feeds here. Matt, pull up Sat 1 there. We are waiting to hear from the LAPD to give an update on the case. We know, new this morning, if you were with us, we told you there was a 29-year-old suspect who's been named in the case. So we're expecting to learn more about him as well as the investigation. Also, overnight's chaos erupting at a vigil for the rapper. So I'm going to continue to monitor this live feed, and I'll continue to pass along updates from your NBC2 Alert Center.
All right, Stacey, thank you very much. A legal battle is brewing in Broward County. Former Sheriff Scott Israel is challenging the legal authority of Governor Ron DeSantis to suspend him from his job after the Parkland shooting. Vanessa Medina reports.
Former Broward County Sheriff Scott Israel wants his job back, suing Governor DeSantis, asking a judge to decide if the governor exceeded his constitutional authority in suspending him back in January.
I was unjustly removed.
Israel's attorneys in court while the governor's team spoke via phone, arguing the issue.
What specific constitutional or statutory duty was violated or neglected?
Shortly after DeSantis took office in January, he suspended Israel for neglect of duty and incompetence.
I have issued an executive order suspending Scott Israel as the sheriff of Broward County.
Israel's attorneys say the move was a power play and not consistent with Florida's constitution or precedent.
Does he have the power to remove a constitutional officer? And if he has that power, what does he have to do to exercise that power? And the Constitution says that's extremely narrow. The governor is not the supervisor of all elected officials in the state of Florida.
Governor DeSantis' team filing a motion to dismiss this lawsuit.
Therefore, Your Honor, we believe that the executive order on a facial review meets the requirements to be adjudged as sufficient and demands that the petition be denied.
If a judge dismisses this suit, it will go to the Senate to decide Israel's fate.
I was elected by the citizens of Broward County.
DeSantis appointed Gregory Toney, a former sergeant with the Coral Springs Police Department, to serve the remainder of Israel's term. That runs through next year.
The trial for a former candidate for supervisor elections in Lee County is expected to start next week. Well, Dan Sinclair, he's accused of destroying surveillance video connected to the hit-and-run crash that killed this man, Adam King. Well, in court yesterday, Sinclair's lawyers asked the judge to keep some key pieces of evidence out of the trial. The judge agreed with some and denied other motions from the defense team, leading into next week's 4-day trial.
Everything the state does is supposed to be prejudicial against your client, as long as it's within the rules of evidence and the law.
Well, the judge kept video from a cell phone dating back a few years. It allegedly shows the surveillance system Sinclair was using that covered the inside and outside of his home. We'll keep you up to date as this trial develops.
People in Cape Coral are pushing for safety changes at school bus stops. Take a look at this. You can see residents packed the Cape Coral City Council meeting, all pushing for safety changes. 1 week ago, 8-year-old Layla Aiken was hit and killed while waiting for her school bus in Cape Coral. Now parents are standing alongside their children, demanding that council work on a bus stop safety plan. The plea for something to be done was loud and clear.
It's different from when you lose an adult because they got to live their life. But when a kid dies, they don't get to do what they loved.
Right now, a traffic engineer is evaluating each bus stop in Cape Coral. From there, the city manager will come up with a cost and a time frame for any potential changes. Residents are taking matters into their own hands. Benches for Our Babes is a Facebook group, and people are posting pictures of benches just like the ones that you're seeing behind me. They set them up themselves. That way, kids have a place to sit and wait for the bus, and they can do it away from the road. Meanwhile, the Facebook group Streets Alive Southwest Florida has proposed investing in portable bus stops. Both groups say they just want our kids to be safe.
So why not spend the money and invest in it and, put something out here to help them now instead of waiting for the city, because it is going to take a while, and I know it costs money, but something small can help out rather than just watching the kids stand here.
Now, we do warn you, according to city code, you need a right-of-way permit to set up furniture like a bench on public property. So if you do set up a bench without one, code enforcement could ask you to remove it.
Lee County Superintendent Greg Adkins has announced that the school board is also working to make it safer for our kids. Adkins says the board would like to work with local governments like the city of Cape Coral to establish more permanent bus stops in the future and find solutions to improve lighting and sidewalks. They have not made any decisions on how to tackle the issue, but they say there needs to be a collaborative discussion with everyone in the community. People living in Cape Coral, though, are getting impatient.
Something needs to be done, and it needs to be done soon. I know everything is cost, but at somebody's life, how many tragedies do we have to have before something's actually done?
Superintendent Adkins tells NBC2 the district is working to put together a public meeting to specifically discuss safety at the bus stops. Right now, police are still searching for the driver that hit and killed 8-year-old Layla Aiken. Cape Coral police tell us that they have a person of interest and a red truck they believe was involved in the crash. Now, police were seen at ABC Supply the morning of the crash looking at this red truck that you see on your screen. It's up on a tow truck. Well, a few days later, we spotted what looks to be the same truck in an evidence lot. A lot of you have been asking why any arrest has not been made, so we took your questions to a former homicide traffic investigator. He says these types of crimes can take months to prove.
It does take time for law enforcement to get the information, get the facts, because the last thing law enforcement wants to do is have to go back to the family and say, sorry, we rushed it and we didn't get a conviction.
Now, police still need your help with this case. If you have any information, please call Cape Coral Police Department or Southwest Florida Crime Stoppers.
This morning, NBC2 is uncovering more information about the teen killed in a shooting in Lehigh Acres. That's him right there. 14-year-old Jamartin Hickson was shot and killed. This was Saturday night during an attempted robbery. This is video from the scene. You can see some of the neighbors' yards are still taped off. Hickson was previously arrested in January for trying to break into someone's home.
She got to go out there to the graveyard and see her baby and talk to him. Instead of, she should have been sitting down talking to him all the time.
Right now, NBC2 is working to find out what these teens agreed to sell the victim and why one of them is facing charges of tampering with evidence.
NBC2 is tracking the measles outbreak in the United States. According to the Centers for Disease Control, a total of 387 individual cases of measles have been confirmed in 15 states. Since the beginning of the year, what you're looking at is the states that we have had outbreaks in: Georgia, Texas, Arizona, California. Now, this is the second largest number of cases reported in the United States since measles was declared eliminated in 2000. Doctors are recommending that people make sure they are vaccinated. Well, new technology at Lee Health Coconut Point is helping patients who are diagnosed with colorectal cancer determine the best form of treatment. Lindsay Morton explains on today's Health Matters.
Using 3 different angles, these MRI images give doctors a closer look at any kind of rectal cancer.
Usually the patients present with physical symptoms, and then that leads to a physical or clinical examination. Usually it's diagnosed through colonoscopy, and so the diagnosis is there, but we have no way of knowing how extensive the disease is.
But the new MRI at Lee Health Coconut Point helps physicians better evaluate patients to determine where the tumor is located.
If the tumor was extending to involve any of these structures out here, that would be a worse prognosis.
The higher quality images can easily help doctors determine the stage of the cancer as well.
Stage 1 is you can't see the tumor at all in MRI, so that's a good thing. Stage 2 is where you can see it and it's involving the wall.
Knowing the severity of the diagnosis can help to determine the best course of treatment for patients.
The treatment that was originally used was radical and led to high morbidity, meaning very low, poor quality of life afterwards. And so this scan helps the managing team, the surgeon and the oncologist, come up with a specific tailored plan.
Giving doctors a closer look can help them to develop a more customized plan that can enhance the quality of life for each patient. For Lee Health, I'm Lindsay Morton.
Today is World Autism Day. It is held every year to recognize people living with autism, living on the autism spectrum. If you want to show your support, pick a blue shirt or dress out of your closet today. Nate is wearing all blue. That is actually the official color of World Autism Day. So, good job, Nate.
There you go. Always on top of it. New research shows that many doctors are now prescribing tablets instead of shots for seasonal allergies. The FDA has approved 4 types of tablets that dissolve under the tongue and can be taken at your house. They're all available to treat allergies to certain grass pollens, ragweed, and house dust mite.
11:40, some breaking news I'm tracking here in the Alert Center. A court hearing has just started moments ago at the Palm Beach County Courthouse for New England Patriots owner Robert Kraft. Matt, if you could pull up IRD 10, you're going to get an inside look at the courtroom right now. Again, just a live feed popping up for you to see here. And Kraft, of course, one of those 25 men charged and accused of paying for sex acts in Jupiter, Florida. The judge here, this hearing is about a motion, and the judge deciding if Kraft's out-of-state attorneys are approved to practice law in Florida. So they're hearing from both sides right now, the judges, and then he could make a decision today or take it under advisement and issue a written ruling. Kraft is not required to be here at this hearing, so he is not there in attendance right now. But I'm going to listen in at my desk, and I'll pass along any updates here for the rest of this newscast or at NBC 2 News at noon.
Stacey, thank you. A community mourning Nipsey Hussle, a man they say was a beloved activist in LA.
I've never been like all distraught over somebody like this, like a rapper, you know what I mean? And he was more than just a rapper.
All new at 11, NBC2 has the surveillance video showing the moments before someone shot and killed the rapper.
And we're continuing to track some rain across Central Florida. You can see it lined up along the front pretty easily. That is all headed to Southwest Florida later on this afternoon. I'll show you how much rain you can expect coming up.
All right, we are seeing a little bit of rain in our area right now, especially up in Charlotte County. Is it moving down, Matt?
It is going to be moving down. This front has taken its time. We were kind of thinking yesterday that we might get some rain during the morning hours in more locations, but taking its sweet time. But we are tracking quite a bit on the region's only live Doppler radar. Most of that still to the north of Southwest Florida, moving through places such as Bradenton, Sarasota, and Lakeland. But we do have a few showers starting to pop up around the area. Port Charlotte, you got a good soaking here about a half hour ago. We're also watching a little shower near the Felda area and some action in the Gulf of Mexico. Let's start off with that shower that went through Port Charlotte earlier on, still producing quite a bit of heavy rain. This is rolling up Highway 17, so South Fort and Fort Ogden. Over the next 15 minutes or so, you are going to see a decent splash of rain. Now, this is angling out to the north and east, so I don't think this is going to roll north all the way to Arcadia. So I think you folks are going to be dry. If you're to the south of Arcadia, though, especially along these main highways, you are going to have a little bit of rain come through your area over the next 30 to 45 minutes. We also have a decaying shower that just brought some rain to Englewoods. If you're in Tarpon Point or in Northport, right across the Myakka River, you are going to see a little spritz and sprinkle anywhere between Northport or Mineral Springs and the Tarpon Point area. That is going to miss, though, the areas that got hit by the rain earlier in Port Charlotte. Also keeping an eye on some showers off the Gulf Coast. No guarantees that these will hold together, but if they do, this is for Rotunda, the Cape Hayes area, and around Manasota Key. We'll have a chance for just a brief little splash of rain. Also tracking a shower that, if it holds together, would be in the Lee County area during the next hour. So that's the Lee County Islands. Sanibel, even as far as St. James City over the next, say, 35, well, rather about an hour or so, hour plus. So by 12:49, potentially, if it holds together, that would start to hit the mainland there at Punta Rasa. So overall, not a whole lot going on in response to this storm system. Certainly, the big action is further to the north. Stacy showed you in the last half hour in the alert center where they're seeing some springtime snow in parts of North Carolina. We are definitely on the milder side of this storm system. Still, you don't want to leave the umbrellas at home because as that front continues to the south, we'll see splashes and dashes of rain, particularly along the coast. And particularly, we're going to be watching the Charlotte and Lee County coasts as we kind of see the front start to fall apart as it heads further to the south. So there are going to be some areas that do get some decent rainfall, maybe even up to a half inch or so. Most of us, though, it's just going to be very brief sprinkles. Certainly, you want to keep that rain gear around just in case. Temperatures currently are not going to get too much warmer as we see the clouds roll in. You can already tell that we're seeing cooler weather in places that have seen showers already. 77 in Punta Gorda. It's only 76 in Arcadia. Further to the south, we are really heating up. Look at Immokalee, already up to 84. A little bit of a breeze out of the south is helping that. And so expect most of us to top out in the lower 80s, especially Lee, Collier, and Hendry counties, where we're going to have a little bit more time to warm up before the clouds roll in. You can see our highs for today going to be right around that 80-degree mark. The further south you go and the further inland you go, a little bit warmer during that late afternoon time frame. And even though a cold front's moving in, we're actually not going to see all that cool of temperatures in the morning. We'll be down to, say, the middle 50s in places like Arcadia. Inland communities such as around LaBelle will get into the upper 50s. Most of us, though, are going to be staying in the low 60s. So a very mild front as opposed to a cold front. We can put some quotes around that. Then some nice weather for tomorrow, but then starting to see some afternoon shower chances creep up as we go into the weekend. Temperatures going up quite a bit as well. 87 for a couple of days.
All right, Matt, thank you very much. Just one day after rapper Nipsey Hussle was murdered, chaos erupted at a vigil outside his clothing store in Los Angeles last night. This comes as police have identified the person they believe shot and killed the famous rapper.
Los Angeles police say 29-year-old Eric Holder is wanted in connection with rapper Nipsey Hussle's murder. Security video shows who police believe is Holder walking up to Hussle and two other men as they stood outside the rapper's store. Police say Holder shot them and then ran into a nearby alley. Holder then drove away in a car with an unidentified woman. The LA Times reports Holder and Hussle got into a fight before the shooting, and the medical examiner says Hussle died within an hour from gunshot wounds to his head and torso.
I've never been like all distraught over somebody like this, like a rapper, you know what I mean? And he was more than just a rapper.
The rappers community is heartbroken for a man who did a lot more than just make music.
He is someone who put our community on the map. People thought that our community was just about violence, and Nipsey put a change to that. He was willing to partner to bring things to this community that we are now going to lose.
A massive crowd of fans gathered to honor Hussle, but then chaos erupted last night. Hundreds of mourners scattered across the parking lot where Hussle was killed after police say a disturbance incited panic. Aerial footage shows the crowd fleeing in all directions. Shoes and smashed candles were left behind. At least 19 people were injured in the stampede, and one person was critically wounded after being hit by a car.
It's not immediately clear what caused that panic last night at the vigil. As for the prime suspect, police believe Eric Holder is still out there driving a white Chevy Cruze.
And breaking news here into the Alert Center. I was just listening in moments ago. That press conference is underway regarding that rapper's death and a person of interest in the case. Matt, pull up. You can see it's dominating the feeds here. Sat 3, Sat 2, Sat 1, any of those happening right now in Los Angeles. They are giving an update here. I was listening in moments ago when that story was running, and the chief here basically saying that there's an uptick in violence where this shooting occurred in South LA. He was saying there's 11 homicides in the last week alone, and he's saying this one in particular, because of the rapper and his popularity, the death is sending shockwaves through the community. So he's kind of giving an overall view right now. He hasn't specifically talked about the suspect. So I'm going to go continue to listen in, and we'll continue to pass along updates right here from your NBC2 Alert Center.
Stacey, thank you. An NBC2 traffic alert in Fort Myers. Oakley Avenue at US 41 will be closed until Friday. Crews are upgrading lighting, installing pedestrian signals, and constructing medians, so expect delays in the area.
New this morning, a proposal to bring graffiti art to South Cape Coral. Check this out. South Cape Hospitality and Entertainment Associations is proposing this. They're revamping utility boxes, painting murals, and a whole lot more. The group says that it will bring more tourists to the Cape. The Community Redevelopment Agency is talking about this proposal this afternoon.
NBC's This Is Us wraps up season number 3 tonight, and there are a lot of storylines heading into the season finale.
Did you know Deja joined the debate team?
It's news to me.
A lot of tension there, so maybe the most intense storyline is the strained marriage between Randall and Beth. The couple engaged in a heated argument last week trying to reconcile their respective career goals. It's got them at the toughest point in their relationship.
It's tense, America. We trying. I mean,
it's a crossroads, yeah?
We're
so a lot of time when you get to a crossroad, you know, it feels as though there's an impasse, right? Yeah. And so we have come to a place of impasse. Mm-hmm. And then now how do you figure it out?
Now I'm concerned.
Ooh. Well, the season finale of This Is Us airs tonight at 9, followed by a new episode of The Village. And of course, catch NBC2 News at 11 after.
It's a good lineup right there. A food truck employee in Lehigh Acres comes face to face with a shotgun. Coming up, how they scared away the armed robber. New this morning, a terrifying attempted robbery at a food truck in Lehigh. Witnesses say that a masked robber put a shotgun in a man's face. This was right here on 23rd Street Southwest in Gunnery. It happened as the Taquito Latina truck was closing up for the night. The clerk said the gunman was wearing all black with his face covered. He came up to the truck and demanded all of the money inside. So the clerk tossed a rag in the gunman's face, and that was enough to spook him. The gunman ran off, and law officials are still investigating.
From your Collier County News team, at least 10 people got into a fight at the Mercado Shopping Center. This happened last night. Deputies say that several people flagged them down to report the fight outside Rocco's Tacos. We know that 2 men were arrested. NBC2 is on top of breaking news ahead at noon. We're going to take you live to Fort Myers Shores, where Lee County deputies are investigating a homicide.
And a university pushing for safety awareness after a student is murdered getting into what she thought was an Uber.
I was born here. I was born and raised here because I was born here. Prove it to me.
What started as a conversation in Spanish ends with a confrontation with a baby involved. Why police are now also getting involved. Next at noon.